So it's time. I've finally sat down to talk about my trip to Africa. I didn't vlog as such, but I obviously have loads of videos and photos and stuff, so I'll throw them in here and there when I'm talking about something that I want to show you. There's literally so much that I could talk about. I could sit here for hours talking about it, but I'm going to try, as usual, I'm going to try to make it kind of short and sweet and get the main things across. I did put up a post on the community tab, which I basically never use, so there wasn't that many responses, but I just asked for questions, and I have some there, and I'll answer questions, and then I'll kind of talk you through the main kind of what I think are the most important things, and what people would want to know if you would like to plan a trip. So Michelle Monaghan says, definitely share. Why Africa? Good choice. So I always assume that people know this, but I grew up in Africa. So I was in Zambia until I was 16, and that's when I moved back to Ireland. So I have always felt that that is home. I have not gone back since then until now. And now that I have my own kids, I always wanted them to go there. I wanted them to experience what I experienced. And spoiler alert, they actually loved it so much they didn't want to leave. Stella Harrison says, hi Dee, more amazing photos. How long have you been away? How many countries have you visited? And you look amazing. Are you feeling amazing? So the trip was actually only for 2 weeks, but we packed in so much. So where we went was we flew into Lusaka, which is the capital of Zambia, and that's where I used to live. We spent 4 days there. We visited all of our old kind of haunts, like my old school. I was with my younger brother and my mom. So my dad was supposed to go, but he actually was really, really sick. So unfortunately, he had to cancel kind of at the last minute because something happened. So yeah, we'll have to go again with him. Anyway, we went to where my dad used to work, the school that my younger brother and I went to, like just places that we used to visit all the time. So much had changed and so much still looked the same. It was kind of crazy. We visited family and friends, or rather like people who were basically our family. So there was Emmanuel and Paul who used to work for my parents, and Emmanuel for like so long lived right next to us. So his daughter was like my best friend slash like almost like a sister. So, and then her younger brother was the same for my younger brother. So that was amazing to meet up with them after all that time. And then there were family friends who would have worked with my dad, and so Mary, who is someone that used to work with my dad, she threw this absolutely amazing lunch. We went out to her farm. She spent so much time with the kids. It was just like an unbelievable experience. It was lovely. It was so nice. And then in Lusaka, obviously, there was things like when I was younger, there was a pizza place called Debonair's Pizza. So that is still there. That was the first thing that I did. Like, so the day that we arrived, we ordered Debonair's Pizza for dinner. Basically just like eating all of the things that we used to eat, like the Simba chips and, so many things like that. So that was really nice. We did that for 4 days. Then we flew down to Livingstone, which is the town that is right next to Victoria Falls. So we crossed the border into Zimbabwe, and we spent 2 days in Victoria Falls town. Then we went back to Livingstone. We spent the rest of our time in Livingstone, and we did a day trip to Chobe in Botswana. So I will go through the kind of activities and all of the information about that in a little bit. Curious to know if you felt safe, although in photos it looks like you were on tours with other people mostly. So I felt 100% safe. Obviously there's crime everywhere. I swear, you know, people in Zambia are just the nicest people you will ever meet. Everyone is so accommodating and, you know, they just want to be friendly and helpful. We went into kind of local market, so it wasn't just for tourists, and I felt completely safe. The kids came with and they actually loved it. They had a great time. Yeah, I mean, you do need to be smart. Don't go around wearing like flashy clothes, a camera around your neck, like looking like you've got stuff to steal, basically, you know. But yeah, I didn't feel any less safe than I do in Ireland. In fact, I feel less safe in Ireland. That's the truth. And then there are kind of, these are more sort of cancer related. So it's just kind of about how is my energy level and, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm going to tell you, I actually was not on ribociclib for, I skipped a cycle basically. So when I was in with my oncologist, I had to find out about taking anti-malarials. And then because of the possible interaction, she said, just skip the cycle. So I was off ribo for a month. So my energy levels were insane. And just FYI, since the trip, I've done scans and everything is still stable. So don't worry about that. If I had been on the ribo, I don't know if I would have been able for as much as I was able for. So yeah, to be completely honest, I think I wouldn't have been able for as much. Having said that, I was enjoying myself so much that I think I would have powered through. Definitely when I came back, I was wrecked, you know, and then it was pretty full on in work up until the end of June. So I had an eye twitch going on and everything. My body was kind of saying, you've done too much. But yeah. Okay, so for the logistics of it, how we got there and everything, we flew with Qatar Airways. It was my first time flying with them and oh my God, it was great. You know, they cater for special needs and everything. So I really couldn't fault them. We also had a layover that was more than 8 hours and we were able to get accommodation through them. So we stayed in the airport hotel. So the flight itself was Dublin to Doha, Doha to Lusaka, and then on the way back the same, Lusaka to Doha, Doha to Dublin. Within Zambia, we did Zambia Airways. We did it from Lusaka to Livingstone. And then when we finished in Livingstone, we did Livingstone to Lusaka and then flew out of Lusaka on the same day. So we were there in May. The weather was lovely, kind of cooler maybe in the evening time. In terms of clothes that we brought with us, if you're going to be doing safaris and that kind of thing, then you need to have kind of neutral colors. The idea is that you kind of blend in and then also that bugs and stuff won't be attracted to you. There's also, you know, that if the sun is shining down on you and you're wearing black, you know, it kind of absorbs it, you get hotter. So there's that. Things you're gonna need that you can either take with you, or this is the thing, you can get everything now. You can get everything that you need when you're there. It wasn't the case when I left. So I did bring a lot with me. You need to be conscious of the fact that your gut is not going to be able for certain things like water. So you need to drink bottled water. And then if you're going to drink water, if you're out in like a bush camp or something like that, you need to take the, oh my God, what are they called? Water purification tablets. So when you go on a safari, there are times that you may be out of your truck. One of the things that we did was we got to walk with the rhinos. So if you're going on safari or going into the bush, you need to have like proper covered shoes. So the kids had like kind of hiking boots, like safari looking boots. I actually brought my Uggs. And I was really, but I was kind of like, that I wear them in the summertime and my feet don't get like hot and sweaty. Whereas, like, if I wore my trainers or my Converse or whatever, my feet are so hot in them. So, the thing about the Uggs is that they're sweat and moisture wicking. So, and like, obviously, like, they're from Australia where it is super hot. And yeah, anyway, it worked out super well. I think I'm gonna start something with this, Uggs are the right shoe for safari. And obviously you're gonna need to have sunscreen, you're gonna need to have insect repellent, and a hat is a super idea because even, like the top of your head even gets burnt, like your scalp. So if you know you're gonna be out for the day, those are good things to have. Accommodation wise, we used Airbnb and we stayed in a safari lodge in Zimbabwe. So in Lusaka, we did an Airbnb. It was called iYula Townhouse. It was stunning. It was so nice. And the caretaker lives on site and he was so nice and so helpful. In Zimbabwe, we stayed in a place called Lokuthula Lodges. It's kind of self-catering safari lodges, basically. They are gorgeous. I love them so much. And when we were younger, that's where we would always stay. On site at Lokuthula is an unmissable experience. It's called the Boma. So the Boma means place of eating. So it is a restaurant, but it's like a drum and dance show as well. The whole thing, like from start to finish, is an experience. It was amazing. The kids loved it. I was nervous that the kids were going to kind of be like, okay, we've eaten, can we go now? Because that happens with kids. They don't want to stay there for the whole night. But we stayed from start to finish. They loved it. When we went back to Livingstone, we were in another Airbnb. It was beautiful. It had swimming pool as well. It was so clean. It was gorgeous. We also had car rentals the entire time. So when we were in Lusaka, we had cars, obviously dropped them back when we went to the airport. And then when we were in Livingstone, we had cars that we had rented to take from Livingstone to Zimbabwe and then planned to drop them back. But by the way, I would not recommend that part. Don't take a car from Zambia to Zimbabwe. I'm going to talk to you about the whole Zimbabwe situation in a bit, but Zimbabwe, don't make it easy for you as a tourist. That's the thing. Anyway, when we did come back, we rented from them again. We rented like a big car that could fit all of us, like a kind of a van. So yeah, you do need it. You need to rent a car. Like there are of course taxis and everything, but I rent a car everywhere I go. The convenience of it and not having to depend on other people, that's a big thing for me. Activities wise, oh, there's so much to do, so much. So the big things when you're at Victoria Falls are obviously you go to see the falls. So we saw the falls from the Zimbabwe side and from the Zambian side. In general, most people think that seeing it from the Zimbabwe side is better because you can see more of the falls. So in May, the water is high. So there's a lot of spray. There's very little to see, actually, just in general, because all you can see is just the mist from the falls. The thing is, on the Zimbabwe side, it costs, is it 50 or 55 US dollars to get in? On the Zambian side, it's $20 and I think $10 for a child. So there's a big difference. So we did do both, but the Zambian side was so much better at that time. The views that we got, like the photos that we got and everything on the Zambian side were so much better. I'm not even doing this that, I'm saying, "Oh, Zambia's the best. Zambia has the best of everything." I'm being genuine. On the Zimbabwe side, when we were walking along, there was this thing where there was abseiling that you could do. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm doing that. So basically, like, I didn't do it all the way down. You just go down a bit and then you hang out over the falls, basically. And that was amazing. I loved it. I loved that. One of the most popular things to do when you're down at Victoria Falls is to do the bungee jump off the Victoria Falls Bridge. Excuse me. I did that when I was younger. I did not do it this time. That is definitely one of the things where I knew that I would hurt myself. I know my back is just not able for it. My hips, my bones, those can't see bones. I did do whitewater rafting though. I had done whitewater rafting for the first time when I was 12. So yeah, we did do that. It was pretty calm. If I were going to go and do that again, I would definitely, beforehand we had said, look, we've got people here that have never done it before and people who are nervous. So like we need it to be as smooth sailing as possible. And in fairness to them, we went with Maano Adventures, by the way. We did safari with them as well. Maano Adventures, I'll actually just like put links below for them. But yeah, in fairness to them, they listened to us. They gave us exactly what we asked for. It was amazing. If I was doing it again, I would definitely say to them, no, I'm good to be a bit more adventurous this time. I enjoy being thrown around the place. So yeah, that would be what I would do different next time. But I'm so happy with the way that it went. We did multiple safaris. So we did the Chobe day tour to Botswana. You go on a boat and you go in a game truck as well. That was great. The idea of going to Chobe is that you may see cats. Nothing is guaranteed, and we didn't see cats, but it was still great. We also went to Muziatunya in Livingstone, which is, relatively speaking, a pretty small game park, but oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. There are at that time, no cats there. But so we knew that that's not what we were going to see, but we saw so much. And we went with Maano Adventures and our guide was unbelievable. He was so knowledgeable. And I'm telling you, like, this sounds so entitled, but I went on a lot of game drives when I was a kid, and a lot of the time the guide would be telling us something, oh, this is whatever, and did you know this or whatever, and all the time, at least speaking for myself, I knew that, and you just go, oh, really? Yeah. This dude, when he was telling us, I was like, what? Say that again? Like, so much. I learned so much from him. It was unbelievable. So you absolutely, if you get that far, you need to go on a game drive, on a safari. If you are feeling like the trips to Chobe or those kind of things are too expensive, because they are, they can be expensive. Then I can't even remember now how much Muziatunya was, but it was around half the price of it. It was so worth it. An amazing experience. I highly recommend it. If you can't do both, definitely do Muziatunya. We actually went to a local market in Livingstone, to Dambwa Market. So that is actually for the local people. Not that it's not for tourists, but it's where locals shop. When you go there, no one is kind of hassling you or trying to get you to buy. It's basically like that if you went into a supermarket, the manager wouldn't be coming up to you and being like, come on, it's free to look. Come, do you like it? Do you want one? Do you want two? I'll give you a good price for two. So there was things like my mom wanted to get chitenges. So chitenge is basically, it's like this. So it's basically fabric. So she does lots of sewing and stuff, and she wanted to get some, but when you buy them from the tourist markets, they're so much more expensive. So we went along, she got like loads of them, a fraction of the price. What did I get my Zambia jersey there? No, I didn't, but I was looking for my Zambia jersey as well. When we were there, we actually had brought some stuff with us, that, like, I had trousers that I had bought, like cargo pants that I'd bought thinking I was going to need to be wearing them on my game drives and stuff. So I'd never worn them. And then like there was things that my mom had brought that she hadn't worn. And we took them with us, and we were kind of like, you know, just giving them to people who needed them, you know. And then my mom and I are basically the exact same person in this way. We saw kids and we were kind of like, oh my God, like basically we went to the supermarket and just bought like so much. We bought things basically, you know, they colors and coloring books and stuff like that, but like baby milk and juice, and you know, then also other bits, okay? Like, and I'm not saying like aren't we great or something. This is like a pretty normal thing to do. But we went along, and then the kids came with us, like my kids came with us this time. And then they were going to the children and giving them things and everything. And like at one stage we were kind of swarmed. We had baby toys and stuff for like little babies. So we were kind of swarmed. There was this man there that was like trying to crowd control and everything. But my kids weren't afraid. They actually were they wanted to go and do more. Oh my God, I feel like, oh my God, I nearly cried there. Just that I was just so proud of them. They just, oh, they understood the assignment, you know, they saw what really is important in life. And like they saw, oh, they learned so much from this trip, you know. And I am guilty of it. I am so guilty of being materialistic now that I live in Ireland, like shopping too much and stuff like that, you know. I'm so terrible for it. But yeah, I mean, like, you cannot, they will not learn that in school. They will not learn that anywhere until they go and they actually live it. And you can't put a price on it. It's just like, it's invaluable. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about is just kind of like tricky situations and a few warnings. We all decided that we would not go back to Zimbabwe again. We spent 5 hours trying to cross the border because of the amount of hassle that we were being given. Now, it turns out, and like, because they won't say it in direct, like in these direct words, but people were looking for us to pay them to make the problem go away. Okay. Now, I'm like, we're not stupid. We also knew that we were paying people for other things as well. So, there was this guy who was an agent who was helping us, and then when he finished helping us, put the price on the help, and basically made out that it was official and that we had to. I'm going to tell you now, to get us across the border for the 2 days, it cost $500 US. It was horrendous. And we only had the 2 days. So one whole day basically was taken up on that border. Then they, you know, because we had the rental cars, they were charging us for the rental cars, which is, it's fine, fair enough. I didn't know that that was what was going to happen. The rental company had done all of the paperwork beforehand for us, so it shouldn't have been an issue, but then there was an issue. And then they were saying that we couldn't take one of the cars across. And then I basically lost it. I was like, do you know what? Keep the car. I'm going in a taxi. And then I think that they realized, okay, she's like reached the point of no return. And they were like, actually, we can do it. Yeah, if you just pay $20, we'll do it. So yeah, it was not a good experience. It wasn't worth it. Obviously, Lokuthula was amazing. And you know, Lokuthula and the Boma, I mean, that's what we did it for, but we've done it now. We're not going to do it again. There is also in Avani. Is it in Avani or is it in the David Livingstone? I can't remember. I think it's in the Avani. I think it's in the Avani. A Boma experience as well on the Livingstone side. Now, I haven't done it, but I've seen the videos of it and it looks amazing. And yeah, I would happily do that if I was going back again. The other thing is that we were stopped by traffic police in Zambia. So when we were stopped, okay, so this is the road I was pulling out. I was at a junction here, pulling out to turn onto the road. Okay, so the white lines to pull onto the road are here, but this is a solid line along. So you have to pull out and go like this. So I pulled out, but the cars in this lane weren't letting me in. So I reached here and then had to make my way in because nobody would let me in. So when I crossed in, the line wasn't dotted anymore. So they pulled me over. Now, that was the second time I was pulled over. So I said to them, yeah, but you know why I was on that line, because nobody would let me in. And, you know, short of crashing into somebody, there was no way that I was going to get in. And there was a guy there that was kind of like telling her, like, don't do this. And then she was like, well, that's not my problem. You did it. I said, all right, fine. How much is it? How much is it? And she was like, oh, well, you know, fine or whatever. And I just said, just tell me what you want me to pay you. I'm going to do it. I have to go. So that was it. We paid her and then we went. The first time, though, was ridiculous. We were pulled in for something else. And it was basically like we were traveling in convoy. One of us didn't give way. So they were like, you're going to go to court. It's going to be 500, was it 500 US dollars? And I just said to her, I don't know who you think I am, but I don't have 500 US dollars to give you. And then she was like, well, you know, it's a problem that if you want it to go away, you could pay for it to go away, you know? So I was like, what? Pay for it to go away? $20. She kind of laughed at that. And then ultimately it was $120 that she got out of us, 120 US dollars to make the problem go away. But I had said to her, I was like, do you know what? I'll go to court, no problem. And she was like, it'll be court on Tuesday now. And I was like, yeah, I'll go to court. I don't mind. That's fine. I'll go to court. But she was like, well, then we're impounding your car. I was like, it's not my car. And obviously I needed the car. So that kind of threw a spanner in the works. And I was like, oh my God. But yeah. So a lot of that goes on. You just need to be prepared for that. Now, on my rental car, there was a dash cam. So it wasn't me that was pulled over, because obviously there would have been proof that I hadn't made a mistake, but there wasn't on the other car. So if you can get a dash cam, a car with a dash cam, I would highly recommend that, because if you know that if you drive properly, carefully, and follow the rules of the road, you'll be fine. You won't be pulled over by traffic cops. But the traffic cops are everywhere. And if you look like you are a tourist, basically, and they know, they know if you're a tourist, then yeah, you'll be pulled over. all in all, it was a fantastic trip. And even the things like being pulled over and everything, and my kids seeing that and witnessing that, that was a lesson for them as well. That was, you know, they were seeing how things are, and like it was all worth it. It was like, in the grand scheme of things, that was nothing. I'd forgotten about it. Once it was done, I let it go. I'd forgotten about it. I didn't care, you know? So it's more just that, like, you might be surprised that that does happen. And there's no, you can't argue. So yeah. But yeah, it was an amazing trip. Lusaka has changed so much, but I still love it. It was so busy. I wish I hadn't been a driver there, because as a passenger I would have taken so many, you know, videos and photos and stuff as we were going around. But it is what it is. And then Livingstone, oh, so nice, so beautiful. People are just so nice, lovely places to eat, so many things to do from Livingstone, so many activities. That's something that has changed as well. Back in the day, like, you had to stay on the Zimbabwe side because all of the activities happened from there, but now you can do everything from the Zambian side, which is just amazing. I really hope it's not the last time that I get to see it. I hope I do get to go back. I don't know when, but yeah, and my kids loved it. They loved it. And Ashton especially, so like, he is 9, so my youngest, he was really sad to leave. He was really sad to leave. He loved it so much. And when we were there, they were kind of like, I wish we lived here, you know, and that meant so much to me, meant so much to me, because I loved it so much as a child, and I considered it my home for so long. And even when I came back to Ireland, I felt displaced. I felt like I didn't belong in Ireland. I felt like I wasn't Irish. So to know that my kids feel the same way about it, even after all of this time, is just amazing. So if you are looking to plan an amazing trip of a lifetime, you need to consider Zambia. Hopefully I've answered most of the questions that you'd be kind of asking yourself or looking to have answered if you were planning a trip. If there is anything else, obviously just ask me below and I will answer you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!